Imagine this. You wake up tomorrow and everyone in the country has double the money. Sounds like a dream, right? More cash, more buying power, more happiness. But within weeks, everything collapses. Prices explode. Savings vanish. And your money? It's not even worth the paper it's printed on. So, why can't we just print more money? Let's break it down. At first glance, printing more money feels like a magic trick. More bills, more wealth, right? After all, if poverty is caused by lack of money, why not just make more? The problem is, money isn't wealth. It's just a tool to exchange things that do have value: food, housing, services, labor. And when we flood the economy with cash, but the actual stuff people want doesn't increase, prices go up. That's inflation. It's like musical chairs. Imagine 5 people and 5 loaves of bread. Each loaf costs $5. Everyone can buy one. But now the government gives each person $5 more. Now everyone has $10 back here, but there are still just 5 loaves. What happens? They start bidding. The baker sees the frenzy and raises prices to $10. Suddenly, you're not richer. You just pay more for the same bread. But it gets worse, because the baker also needs to buy flour. And as every bakery in town tries to buy more, the price of flour skyrockets. And farmers can't grow wheat faster just because there's more money. Eventually, prices rise across the board, and nobody is better off. In fact, those with fixed incomes or savings get hurt the most. Their money buys less. Their future shrinks. This is what economists call demand pull inflation. But when it spirals out of control, that's when things get dangerous. If you enjoy content that makes economics simple and clear, consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel. It really helps us grow and keeps videos like this coming your way. Thanks for the support. Now, let's keep going. We've seen what happens when you print some extra money. But what if a country prints a lot more? That's called hyperinflation. When prices rise so fast, money becomes practically useless. And history gives us brutal examples. Let's start with Germany, 1923, during the era of the Weimar Republic. After losing World War I, Germany was forced to pay massive war reparations under the Treaty of Versailles. The country was broke, its economy shattered, and instead of raising taxes or cutting spending, the government chose to print more money. At first, it seemed to work. Bills were paid, salaries went out, but then prices started doubling. Not every year, not every month, every few days. People had to carry wheelbarrows full of cash just to buy bread. Workers demanded to be paid twice a day so they could spend their wages before prices went up again. In January 1923, a loaf of bread cost 250 marks. By November, the same loaf cost 200 billion marks. Savings were wiped out. Retirees who had worked their whole lives suddenly had nothing. The middle class was crushed. The economy collapsed. And in that chaos came extremism. The collapse of the Weimar economy opened the door for a rising political figure, a man whose actions would change history forever. But Germany wasn't alone. Fast forward to Zimbabwe, 2007. Once a prosperous country, Zimbabwe fell into crisis after land reforms that removed experienced farmers and handed land to inexperienced workers. Food production plummeted. Jobs disappeared. The government, desperate to fix the economy, did what others had done before. It printed more money. And again, disaster followed. By 2008, Zimbabwe's inflation rate reached 89.76% per year. That's 89.7 followed by 20 zeros. The Zimbabwean dollar became worthless. People used it to make origami, wallpaper, even toilet paper, because it was cheaper than buying actual paper. A single egg could cost millions, and the price would double in hours. Then came Venezuela, starting in 2016. Despite having the largest oil reserves in the world, the Venezuelan economy crashed after years of heavy government subsidies, nationalization of industries, and total dependence on oil exports. When oil prices fell, revenue dried up. But instead of cutting spending, the government kept printing money to fund social programs and food subsidies. It didn't take long for prices to skyrocket. Supermarket shelves emptied. People fled the country. and the once wealthy nation collapsed into economic chaos. Even the currency itself became worthless, with banknotes being thrown away in the streets. These aren't just numbers, they're warnings. When governments choose the easy path of printing money instead of solving deeper problems, the consequences are devastating. Some people might ask, okay, maybe printing money for the public is dangerous, but what if a country just prints money to pay off its foreign debt? Seems clever, right? Print it, pay it, done. Not so fast. When a government prints money, even if it's not handing it to citizens, that new money still enters the economy. It increases the money supply overall, and the world is watching. Foreign lenders, investors, governments, banks can see when a country is printing too much. They track inflation rates, exchange rates, and monetary policy. They know when a currency is being diluted. So if a country tries to pay debt using freshly printed bills, here's what happens. First, the value of that currency drops. Second, foreign lenders lose trust in being repaid with real value. Third, interest rates go up. Or worse, lenders stop lending altogether. They don't want to be paid in funny money. They want to be paid in something real. That's why even the idea of printing to pay debt is risky. It sends a signal. This country can't generate enough income. They're relying on the printer. And once that signal is out, it's hard to pull it back. Just like that, credit dries up, confidence evaporates, and the economy gets squeezed from the outside and the inside. Printing money isn't just bad for domestic markets, it damages international credibility, and that can be even harder to rebuild. If printing money doesn't work, then what does? The answer is simple, but not easy. Create real value. Wealth doesn't come from ink and paper. It comes from productivity, innovation, and trust. That means investing in the things that actually grow an economy. Better education, so people can develop skills. Modern infrastructure, so goods and services can move efficiently. Support for technology and business, so ideas turn into industries. Strong institutions, so rules are clear and corruption is punished. Think about it this way. You don't get richer by printing fake diplomas. You get richer by learning real skills. And countries are the same. When businesses grow, they hire more people. When people have jobs, they spend more. When demand grows, companies produce more. And when supply keeps up with demand, prices stay stable. That's a healthy economy. The key isn't handing out money, it's building an environment where money is earned, valued, and reinvested. And here's the best part. When people work hard to earn their money, they spend it more wisely. They save, they budget, they build. That kind of behavior keeps demand balanced. It discourages waste, and it prevents inflation from spiraling out of control. And when supply rises to meet that healthy demand, prices stay in check. Competition keeps businesses honest, and people thrive, not because they were given money, but because they created it. Countries like Japan and South Korea followed this path, turning from war-torn, impoverished nations into global economic powerhouses. Not with printing presses, but with discipline, investment, and long-term thinking. In the end, money is just paper, until it represents something real. You can flood the streets with cash, but if there's no food to buy, no homes to rent, no services to use, then that money is worthless. Every time in history that a government tried to cheat reality by printing its way out of trouble, the results were the same. Inflation rises, trust collapses, and ordinary people pay the price. Because no matter how many zeros you add to a bill, you can't eat money. You can't live in it. And you definitely can't build a future on it. So next time someone asks, why don't we just print more money? You'll know the truth. Because real wealth isn't printed, it's earned, it's built, and it's shared through value. And just like every shortcut in economics, printing money feels easy until it costs everything. If this video helped you understand how money really works, consider liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and turning on notifications for more financial stories that explain the world in simple terms. And here's a question for you. If your country gave you $1 million tomorrow, what would you actually do with it? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one. Thanks for watching. And remember, real value is never free.